Yeah. Do you know who this guy is? Yeah, that's it, Joe Hasham. I don't know much about Joe, but let me tell you what I do know. Tell you what, when he was sitting around the poker table it wasn't long ago, where he won several $1 million, I'll tell you, when he had his hand given to him, I'm sure he wasn't showing anyone else around the table what he had. Now, what I'm trying to get at here is when you're dealing with a real estate agent, fit in with the questions, try and do whatever you can to say, yeah, we're interested, but also don't lay all your cards on the table. And a really good example of this, if you know you're dealing with a good real estate agent when they ask you good questions. Okay, the quality to me of an agent is the questions that they ask. Forget the looks, the age, all of that stuff. It comes down to the questions and the information they can get in a subtle way. Now, if you're sitting down with a real estate agent and they take an offer, and let's say you offer $300,000. If the agent then comes back and says, okay, so 300, they put it all down and say, now look, in the event that I take this to the vendor and they don't accept it, will you be prepared to come back and negotiate? First of all, if they say yes, bang, I know they've got more money and my job is to get the maximum sale price for my vendor, and you'll appreciate when you're selling a house, you'll want a vendor doing exactly the same for you. What I would say to this is if you're dealing with a really good agent asking good questions, it's very simple. Answer their questions, but try and dance around them without giving the full information. Say, look, this is the offer that we're making at this stage. Look, we think that it's very good value for what we're offering. I can't say that we're going to come back and offer more, but if the vendor doesn't accept it, I'd like you to give me a call and tell me what they will take. Start turning it around and asking them, what will they take? What will take this home off the market? Because the person asking the questions is getting the information they need. Okay, now that might not sound like much, but if you're sitting in an office and there's 2 or 3 other people inquiring on a property and you ask the right question, you just might give yourself the information you need to stitch the deal up. And I tell you what, I've seen it happen all the time. Okay, making sense of quoted prices. I'm nearly done here, so I'm not going to talk for too much longer, but you're out there looking on the market. I just want to talk a little bit about this because this year it's just spiralled out of control. I'll be the first to admit, as a real estate agent, I look through the local paper and can't make sense of some of the agents' quotes as well. I'm just going to talk about some that you might see because a plus is very common in this marketplace. If you're out there looking, and as a buyer, you might see a plus and go, well, what's the plus mean? Does anyone here know what the plus means, just roughly? Just roughly? Okay, I'll tell you 10%, okay? As an agent, if we put 400,000 plus on a property, we would say plus is around 10%. So you might be looking somewhere up into the 440 range, maybe a little bit less or a little bit more depending. But it gives you a rough rule of thumb. Because the market's been so crazy this year, there's a lot of agents who are putting them really down very low. Because let's say I put it on at 400 plus. I'm pitching to people at the 440 mark. What we're seeing is there's a lot of buyers going, this is going to go for 480 easily. I've gone to 5 or 10 other auctions. I'm not even going to waste my time going through. So what agents are doing is just trying to lower it a bit because buyers are automatically adding 15, 20%. And I know that's frustrating. I'll be the first to admit that. But you've got to also appreciate from our point of view, we've got to get buyers through so a property can sell. And, you know, we're doing nobody any favours if we're pricing it right out of the water. The other thing that you might see is some people are actually going with no price these days. All I'd say to that is if you're looking for your first home and there's no price attached, I'd be calling the agent and saying, look, I noticed that the property doesn't have a price attached. Can you give me a rough expectation? If they won't answer that, I would then be asking, what price do I need to pay to take this property off the market? You want to know, just give me the number, and whether you think that's high, low, or whatever, doesn't matter. You need to know a number, okay? So always be digging to get that information. And how to work with a set price. We're not seeing this much now, but I'm tipping, based off the number of people I'm getting through my open for inspections, looks like the market is just starting to slow down a little bit in this area. And that's just my observation and opinion of what I'm seeing every Saturday out there in the marketplace. But I would be tipping early next year that we are going to see it start to catch up a little bit because the prices have been pretty crazy in the area. I'm sure anyone out there looking would agree. If you do see a set price, an example of that would be 400,000 or 449,950. understand that agents will always ask for more than they expect to receive. It's actually the number one rule of negotiating: ask for more than you expect to receive. If we put it on for $450, I'd be tipping that that person might be, 5 or 10% below that is probably around what the vendor's thinking, working with the agent. And also, don't forget there's agent's fees, so they're trying to get a bit more. But I can't make any guarantees that another buyer doesn't come through and offer that or more. I've seen that happen many times throughout this year. All I'm trying to do is just give you an insight as to what might happen based off what we've been seeing in the marketplace.